Hello, and welcome to the Paul Michaels Experience. In this episode, we'll be traveling to Paris to take a look at the Eiffel Tower. I went to the first level, the second level, and all the way to the top. Now you'll be able to see what it's like to look out over the city of Paris from the top of the Eiffel Tower. Let's take a look. Let me start out by saying this is probably my favorite episode out of all of my episodes. I've been to Paris 3 or 4 times now, and every time I go, I always make time to stop by the Eiffel Tower. In Paris, they say it is La Tour Eiffel. It's just like you're saying the letter F and the letter L, La Tour Eiffel. The Eiffel Tower was built in 1889 for the Paris Exposition. It wasn't intended to be permanent, and there were some who didn't like the tower and wanted it torn down. It was going to be demolished in 1909, but was saved because it was repurposed as a giant antenna. I arrived about an hour before the tower opened, and there was already a line. Gustave Eiffel designed the Eiffel Tower, and he also designed the spine of the Statue of Liberty. Alright, so here's the line now whenever the tower is about to open, and look how many people that is. I always try to get up early and get to the monument or the landmark that I'm going to see first or near the first of the line. It makes it easier because whenever you come at 9 or 10 or 11 in the morning, there's already a ton of people ahead of you. In the case of the Eiffel Tower, I got there pretty early. Now look how many people you would have to wait behind just because you wanted to stay at the hotel and have a nice breakfast. You can always have a better lunch after you've already visited the monument of your choice. The elevators are cool because they operate on a diagonal. But like I was saying, I tried to get to the Eiffel Tower early this morning and then went to the first and second levels and straight to the elevator to go up to the top. I visited the Eiffel Tower before and stopped on the second level to look around and take some pictures, etc. And by the time I had decided to take the elevator to the top level, the line was so long I decided not to go. This time, I took the elevators straight away and went right to the top. The Eiffel Tower is one of the most well-known structures in the world and is the most visited paid monument, with about 6.9 million visiting the tower each year. Over 250 million have visited the tower since it was created in 1889. During World War II, the French cut the lift cables so Hitler would have to climb the stairs if he wanted to reach the top of the Eiffel Tower. There's a famous story about a con man, Victor Lustig, who sold the Eiffel Tower to a scrap metal dealer. There's always the story about someone trying to say, "I have a bridge to sell you," referring to the Brooklyn Bridge. I feel sorry for that scrap metal dealer. I just wonder how he found out he was taken to the cleaners. Did he walk up to the Eiffel Tower and say, "Hey, I own this thing, get off my tower"? Or what? Pretty embarrassing to be known throughout history as the person who thought he was buying the Eiffel Tower. The tower was originally intended for Barcelona, Spain, but the project was rejected. Inventor Franz Reichelt died by jumping from the Eiffel Tower while testing a parachute of his own design. There are 1,665 steps to climb to reach the top of the Eiffel Tower. There's also 20,000 light bulbs on the tower. Around the world, there are 30 replicas of the Eiffel Tower. I did some research, and found online a cost conversion that says in today's prices you could build the Eiffel Tower for $50 million. If I ever won the lottery, I would build a version of the Eiffel Tower in America. I can't believe no one has decided to build one here yet. I think it would be very popular, and many people would travel to see it just to say they at least saw a version of the Eiffel Tower. There are millions who can't afford to fly to Europe, but could take a road trip to a city to walk up or ride up the USA's version of the Eiffel Tower. Now I'm on the elevator going straight to the top. For some people who have a fear of heights, this would be too much to take, riding in an elevator looking at the people on the ground getting smaller and smaller as you go higher and higher.
So die Häuser sind eigentlich auch so gebaut so. Ja, warte. Ah, da ist unser Riesenrad, schau, das ist ein Riesenrad. Wir haben gestern schon mal, wow, das ist...
Okay, we're at the top of the Eiffel Tower now. It's 1,050 feet tall, and the temperature can alter the height by as much as 6 inches. The Eiffel Tower was the tallest man-made structure for 41 years until the Chrysler Building was erected in New York City. The French have a nickname for the Eiffel Tower. It's La Dame de Fer, which means the Iron Lady. Some 500 employees are responsible for the Eiffel Tower's daily operations, working in the restaurants, manning the elevators, ensuring its security, and directing the eager crowds flocking to the tower's platforms to enjoy panoramic views of the City of Lights.
Just take it dead. There's not much left in the Eiffel Tower there, is it? It's not much. It's above us, right to the tippity top.
The paint on the Eiffel Tower weighs as much as 10 elephants. Around 50 tons of paint are added to the Eiffel Tower every 7 years to protect it from rust.
Tu vois au moins le pied. On dirait que c'est un autre bâtiment. On dirait que t'es tenu en l'air.
A study was done, and 5,000 visitors were asked about who they visited the Eiffel Tower with. 3% said they visited alone. That's the category I was in. And 18.1% visited with friends. 30% said they visited the Eiffel Tower with an organized group, and the most popular response was visiting the Eiffel Tower with family, which was made up of 48.9% of the visitors out of the 5,000 people surveyed.
El alto de la defensa no se ve.
Sí, mírale, hay un cachito ahí.
Sí, bueno, claro.
Pero no se ve.
Claro, es un cachito por eso, por el asunto de cómo están los edificios puestos. Y hubo un tiempo, cuando estábamos viviendo, sí que se veía el arco de la defensa, pero luego, claro, los terrenos son los que valen, ¿entiendes? Y entonces, pues, haciendo así un poco, pues claro, se han puesto unos dos que
The Eiffel Tower took 2 years and 2 months to build and used 300 workers. You can see for 37 miles from the top of the tower, and it weighs 10,000 tons. 18,038 pieces were used and are held together by 2.5 million rivets to create the Eiffel Tower. Not many people know this, but there's a small apartment at the top of the Eiffel Tower that Gustav Eiffel would bring guests and conduct experiments about the weather and other scientific things. Check out the line to get up to the Eiffel Tower now. Like I said earlier, you stay in the hotel or go out to a restaurant and have a nice breakfast and leisurely make your way over to the tower, and you're going to be standing in line for a long time. I would much rather get up early, have breakfast, quick, and then get to the monument, wait in line, a short amount of time, not as long as you would at about 10 or 11, and then see the monument, and then go somewhere and then have a nice long leisurely lunch while you look over your pictures or watch your video that you just shot of the monument. I don't know how long you're gonna have to wait in a line this big, but it's a long time to stand around. This section of video is from a winter trip I took during the holidays one season. That's the athletic field you saw from the view that I showed you a few minutes ago from the Eiffel Tower. I was able to stay in this hotel by using my frequent flyer miles when I used to travel a lot. So I requested a view of the Eiffel Tower. You can't see very much of the top on a snowy day, but it's still a beautiful sight. Paris definitely has a different kind of feel to it from summer to winter. I like the winter time in Paris You get to wear your winter clothes and bundle up. There's snow, and you can even find guys roasting chestnuts on some of the corners, so it gives you the Christmas feel to be in Paris during the holidays. Here's the famous sparkling lights of the Eiffel Tower at night. That's the 20,000 light bulbs with 5,000 on each side. The Eiffel Tower sparkles for 5 minutes on the hour. It's definitely beautiful. Well, that does it for the tour of the Eiffel Tower. I hope you've enjoyed the view from the top of the Eiffel Tower, and maybe learned a few interesting facts about the Eiffel Tower. If you want to see my photos of the Eiffel Tower, you can visit my website, paulmichaels.com, where I have photos of Paris and all the rest of my travels. Remember, paulmichaels.com. And all the way to the top. Now you'll be able to see what it's like to look out over the city of Paris from the top of the Eiffel Tower. Let's take a look. Let me start out by saying this is probably my favorite episode out of all of my episodes. I've been to Paris 3 or 4 times, built in 1889 for the Paris Exposition. It wasn't intended to be permanent, and there were some who didn't like the tower and wanted it torn down. It was going to be demolished in 1909, but was saved because it was repurposed as a giant antenna. I arrived about an hour before the tower opened, and there was already a line. Gustave Eiffel designed the Eiffel Tower, and he also designed the spine of the Statue of Liberty. Alright, so here's the line now, and every time I go, I always make time to stop by the Eiffel Tower. In Paris, they say it is La Tour Eiffel. It's just like you're saying the letter F and the letter L, La Tour Eiffel. The Eiffel Tower was Hello, and welcome to the Paul Michaels Experience. In this episode, we'll be traveling to Paris to take a look at the Eiffel Tower. I went to the first level, the second level,